Another week of anxiety, as we are calling this stream. But it's been fun shipping things. We had a killer Nebraska JS, almost 100 people.
Really?
And yeah,
I didn't even see what the topic was. What was the topic?
show off your AI workflows. See, in Nebraska JS,
yeah,
we
you
don't talk
told me
about
that.
JS anymore.
That's right. Because it's boring. But anyways.
Well, we don't write code anymore, right?
Yeah, you sent me that. I forgot that you guys were doing that. So you had 100 people show up for that?
Yeah, that was my probably too subtle way of being like, John, you should drive 3 hours.
Yeah, that's probably why I forgot about it, because I was like, there's no way I can do that right now.
You know. I was looking though. I missed it last week. I guess there was some AI thing in KC, and I wish I would have gone. And if you hear anything, I want the excuse.
I've got to get connected because I don't even know what you're talking about. Where did you hear it through?
I Googled and then I found it. And it was a week ago, and there's not a new one planned. So
yeah, I've been meaning to get more connected again, but it's so easy once you get into your hole to like stay there and not deal with people. So yeah, I got to get better about not doing that.
You know, I have some sad news. Speaking of KC, I did not submit to KCDC this year.
Really?
I've spoken there like the last 3 or 4 years, I think. And I love going to that conference. It's a great one. I did not though, and that's because the conference is on my 40th birthday, and I decided I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Got to take some time off and do something with the family. 40 is a big one.
Oh yeah. Don't die. That's my goal.
So, I honestly haven't kept up with the news this week. Like I probably should have. So you're gonna have to tell me what happened. What happened in AI this week, Nick?
Great question. When that question comes up, I turn to my favorite place. Not really my favorite place, but I turn to Twitter. Ugh, it's a horrible place. And there was some news actually that just came out like a little bit ago, like an hour or two ago.
Yeah, you sent me this, and I briefly looked at it, and I didn't pay that much attention to it because I was doing other stuff.
Yeah, I think this is big. It's something that doesn't affect me because I've just had it on forever.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, no, that is big because I don't. I just have the Max, so
yeah,
I might have to take advantage of this. I have not turned it on once since it was out.
Well, now it's the default. You don't have to do anything, and you have a million token context window. I don't know how to think about this. Like, honestly, it's good, but like, am I trying to get to 800,000 tokens? No.
No.
Like, so it still screws up, when you get too crowded.
That's what I was going to ask. This is what wasn't clear to me, but I thought it was the benefit of this larger context window was that it allowed you to have a larger context without it getting all confused and screwed up, or is that the case?
It's definitely a lot larger, so it can do a lot more. Ooh, this is new too. We recommend medium effort. Yeah, I bet you do.
I've seen that. If I've only seen that if I open it up in a new directory or something that it hasn't played with before. So
tell me a jock.
It'll know what you're talking about, I assume.
I know it does. How many programmers? Yeah, classic. I only did that to show my status line here. I put a little status line that shows how many tokens I've used. Telling me that joke cost me 20,000 tokens. Amazing. But you can see it basically doesn't register on this. And my kind of like main line of thinking, especially when it was 200,000, but now with 1 million, is still this line will turn yellow when it gets to 40% context utilization, and it'll turn red at 80%.
Okay.
I have not seen it get to 80% on the 1 million token context window. That would be like going for hours.
Yeah, that's because you're essentially done working the context of the task that you're working on. So then you move on to something else. And do you open a new Claude at that point?
Yeah, I do that, or I just run /clear and
Yep.
we're back to 0. Um, yeah, I still do that. Like if the bar turns yellow, meaning I'm at 40%, I won't start a new task or ask a new question. I'll compact maybe. I don't really compact anymore though. I just don't feel the need to, because by the time I get to 40%, I'm like done with this task.
Yep.
And um and then I just start a new context and go again. And I mean, we can talk about different ways that I've been kind of changing my workflow a little bit, but yeah, million token context window, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Another
I'm looking forward to trying that one out because I think I had the option to go like flip it on. I just didn't because I didn't want to blow through my essentially whatever cost limits I had.
Yeah, for sure. uh well, now you can do that way faster.
Yeah.
One fun thing, I gave a demo of my setup at Nebraska JS. Speaking of which, and I turned on fast mode for that,
Yeah.
and like it was a lightning talk type thing, less than 10 minutes for every talk, including mine, and it was fun because I also have in my bar here, this is a number that Claude just provides you, so you can print it
Right.
out, how much you're spending in this conversation. So asking that joke cost me 14 cents. And it was funny because, in the less than 10 minutes that I ran fast mode, which is like $150 per million tokens or something like that. And I don't even know if you can turn it on in the, oh, you
can.
can. Oh, requires extra usage billing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we need to charge you a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Well, I don't have that turned on. And it doesn't tell me. Okay. Well, anyway, it blew through $30 in like the less than 10 minutes that I was running it, which was pretty fun.
And that's so I stole your your status line. So I have the same thing.
Oh, cool.
But what I want to understand, I'm pretty sure that it's the context of this is how much it would have cost. Because like I'm paying at least for personal stuff, I'm paying them a flat fee. I'm not paying that amount.
Yeah.
I did share this with people at work. I was like, because there's a little anxiety around, oh my God, I spent X number of dollars. Is that okay? And almost every time it's like, yes, that's fine. But giving them that clear, like here, you can look at this and it'll tell you how much you've spent.
Yeah. If you're on a enterprise plan or like a max plan, you are not like, you're paying that flat fee, and you
Yep.
can do the extra billing like to go over this, but like
Right.
otherwise, I'm allowed whatever this bar means until 7 p.m. And if I go over that, like I think it just goes to a lesser model. In the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can fill out this sonnet only bar, which gives you a lot more usage, but obviously it's a little bit dumber. And then you also have that for a week. So up until March 16th, in 3 days, I have this. And this is my personal machine, so
Right.
I don't really
haven't.
use Claude it personally, but I pay for it. I mean, I do use it, but I haven't used it this week.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks like I don't use it at all. But yeah, you're like that number. I wanted to be clear. The dollar amount is coming straight from Claude. Like, I don't know what it means or how, like, I think it's just like, this is what you would be spending. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
that
paying
makes sense.
extra.
I'll have to look at mine. I haven't looked at that. Interesting. I got a different view.
Different view.
Yeah. Oh, wait, huh? Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Okay. No, I just didn't realize that you had tabbed over.
Oh yeah, in the status.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
I'm at 29% used today.
Nice.
Whatever.
Better slow down.
I know.
Yeah. So that's the biggest news, I think. I'm trying to think of what else has happened. What else has happened this week, John?
Nothing stood out. I mean, there was like I don't know that it was this week, and we were briefly chatting about this, but Cal Newport had a video. I don't know if it was this week, last week, but I think I watched it this week or
Hmm.
listened to it. His response to, is AI taking our jobs and blocks, hot firing of 4,000 people, etc. I thought it was a pretty good, uh, you know, dive into, did AI cause all those jobs to go away? Probably not. Was AI a good excuse to as a CEO to come to the table and say, "Oh, this is why we needed to do this," as a positive outcome to a negative action that had to occur and might have been leftovers from like all the overhiring that happened, especially during um COVID, etc. Yeah, probably. I could buy that. Because you know, I do not see a company getting rid of 4,000 people because AI is just making people that much more productive, right? And his his argument was if AI is making these people that much more productive, then like why don't you just keep the 4,000 people and be that more productive and make that much more money? I mean, it's a little slightly pedantic, but I thought it was a really good video. It kind of meets the middle ground, you
Hmm.
know. Uh, it's not AI's taking over the world and AI is totally stupid. I thought it was a good middle stance of, yeah, this is going to change things, but he didn't. It was good about highlighting that he didn't think it was there yet. I thought it was a good video.
Yeah, I don't disagree too much. Like, I really don't think that Block's firings were or layoffs were specifically about AI. I think it was more COVID overcorrection than
Yeah,
anything. But he gets a flashy headline, and people start talking about him. And if AI pans out, then he looks like a trendsetter and ahead
yeah,
of the curve. Um, but like, I know people at Block that are not at Block anymore that worked on like all of their core AI stuff, like Goose and other things. And
yeah.
you think those are the people you keep? I don't know.
Right, exactly. I was chatting with I kind of been having this back and forth conversation with a recruiter that works with senior level engineering talent, etc. And she'd mentioned that her things were slow last year, and I was like, "Do you think that's because of AI?" And she said maybe, but she's like, it's very weird that she essentially said she was working with a ton of engineering leads right now, which was kind of odd. I thought it was odd too because I mean, to me, those are the people assuming that they're keeping up with what AI is doing are the people you want to have at your company right now because they're the ones that are going to be able to like enable AI more easily and in a safer manner, right?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this briefly in the last video where I think it's hugely important that uh, you don't just go, "Hey, here's a person who can tell this AI to do something and it produce something that looks like it works," right? Um, I think people will get into huge messes doing that if they don't have some background in how things actually work.
Hmm.
So yeah, I found it weird that she had a onslaught of technical leads that she was dealing with.
Hmm.
But yeah, I I I, I know that Cal had another video come out here recently that was I forget the title of it. I'm not sure if it was that one, but it was another AI related one. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm interested to listen to that. Like I said, I don't always agree with everything he says, but he generally has a pretty level-headed or middle of the road view on things.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I disagreed on something that he said in the video, which was
Oh, that's the one there, the "Will AI destroy the economy" one. I wanted to listen to that.
yeah. He gets really into the weeds of like, oh, this isn't AGI, and like, fine, like it just feels like a dodge more than
Yeah,
like you're arguing the wrong thing. I
right.
forgot exactly what it was. It probably wasn't AGI, but I don't know. In the moment, that was my take on it. Um, that it sounded like more of an academic argument than a practical one, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Other news. This is personal news. I tried out a different app this week. Have you heard of CMux?
I have not.
I was playing around with it a little bit. Usually I just like dismiss these things that come in because I'm set in my ways with tooling,
Yep.
particularly around like NeoVim and Tmux and things like that. And NeoVim is less of a star in my life right now just because I don't really write code. But Tmux like powers everything for me. Every agent is inside of a Tmux split somewhere, and it's
Yep.
agent teams with Claude are using Tmux to split the world, and yeah, it's great. But this is and I use Ghosty as my terminal, and this is a new terminal built on top of Ghosty called CMux, but it's kind of more designed for a AI environment, like an agentic environment, where you have these vertical tabs along the side, and these are like all of the agents that you're talking to, and then you can have different sessions in here. So you can have like a split with your agent talking to you, and you can have another one where you might have your code. It's just Ghosty pretty much. So like these tabs are all pretty cool, and it kind of looks like a graphical Tmux. But another cool thing is that the splits can also be web views, and so you could like have your project up in a web view, and you just have like a one-stop environment. And if you had a bunch of them, you could be going through them and like boom, 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 test all of them, and like have the the web environment as well that you're testing.
So I'll have to check this out because on the personal project that I'm working on, there are things that I will have Claude code do. So I'll be spending time in a terminal, and then obviously I'll have Tmux windows or etc. splits open for running the server and that type of stuff. But then if I'm focusing on a UI problem, or I really want to use the UI to explain to Claude what needs to happen, like what steps are happening, then I'll open up Tidewave. So it'd be cool to have Tidewave open up over there, which then obviously has the app open up in it, and I can keep everything in kind of the same view.
Idea.
So that's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
CMux.
Yeah, I also think it's pretty cool that like Ghosty is set up in this way that you can just like build things. This isn't the only thing I've seen built on top of Ghosty or libghosty.
Oh, really?
Cool.
What else have you? Because I really like Ghosty as a terminal. What else have you seen built on Ghosty?
I don't know. Yeah,
I guess I didn't
couldn't tell
realize
you what it was.
Ghosty was that flexible.
It really is. And there was a recent podcast I listened to with Mitchell Hashimoto of Ghosty, where he was talking effectively about replacing Tmux, or like bringing in as much of the capabilities of Tmux into it, so you have a more graphical environment, which is like super not appealing to me. But maybe if I had like splits that were web views, maybe that's interesting.
Right.
Kind of like this. But he's even like talking about, one of the big benefits of Tmux is that if I kill Ghosty, the Tmux server is still running. The Tmux session is still active, and I can just bring Ghosty back and reattach to it. He was even talking about like potentially supporting something like that, where it was effectively running its own like server, and then Ghosty was just a client that connects to it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Got to adapt. That's the AI life.
God, I'm trying to think because I already forgot the guy's name you just said, but I do remember I saw an article that he was in, or a video he was in as well, and it was more AI related. I cannot remember what it was now. I thought I had a link to it, but I can't find it at the moment. But I forgot why it was interesting, because I think it was highlighting his adoption of AI. Actually, I have it up right here. Yeah, so he wrote a really good post on his blog about his AI journey, and it kind of resonated with me because the way he approached it was very similar to the way I approached it, which was, not just throw myself into the deep end and try to figure it out, but slowly replace tools or integrate it into your tools. I thought that it was a really good article. Yeah, that's it right there.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I've read this.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and I liked the progression.
Hmm.
I need to read it again because I really kind of just browse through it, but you're going through the steps, it resonated. Um, you also had a video. Was it earlier this week or was it end of last week about harness engineering?
I did. I've been doing these, I think, bi-weekly streams with Michael Chan, who works at WorkOS with me, and we talked about harness engineering. It was pretty fun, pretty cool article, or a pretty cool talk, and I don't know. I've been having fun with it. I'm trying to think if I have no. There it is.
Was this based off of the OpenAI? Yeah, that's this OpenAI just kind of
Yeah.
project they had.
Yeah, I might have talked about this last week on stream because it was right after this talk I went to that we talked. But I went to a talk on Zoom with Ryan LaPopolo from this team who wrote this article, and I was just enamored with the idea of a whole team that's not writing code at all, and just work like they're not working on the product at all. They're working on this product that works on the product.
Yep.
And I was like, I wonder how difficult it would be to do that, and how it'd be fun. Like, I'm sure I could do it with AI. What would it take? And turns out not that much.
Okay, so I misunderstood the context of because I think you sent a message about it. I don't know if you mentioned it in the last time we talked on air, but I misunderstood that, and maybe I still misunderstood. Was somebody at WorkOS working on a harness?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe,
Yeah.
so
Every team,
somebody
I
at,
think.
yeah, there you had a team at WorkOS working on a harness,
Mhm.
and then you worked on a harness as well, but it was more geared towards the work you're doing at WorkOS because theirs was more on the product.
Yeah.
And not that you don't work on the product, but you work more on the edge of the product, which is how
Right.
do others connect into the product?
Yep.
Okay,
Mine is
okay.
all open source, and it's all scattered across different repos. And
Right.
how do I
Tons of
make
different languages.
how do I make something that can work across repos like that? And how can I make it work on the things that I want it to work on? And there were some key findings from that. Like, obviously, I'm not done. Um, I have a markdown document with improvement. I think it's just called improvements.md, and it is like, I think I'm up to like 47 improvements that I have listed out there, and it's just from reading other articles and like, oh, that'd be a good idea. Oh, I should look into this. I
Yeah.
just learned about like a new database today from SkidViz. I had lunch with him, which is why I was a few minutes late joining. Trying to remember the name of the database, but it's not like a RAG database. It's more like or not a RAG, like a vector database. It's not
Mhm.
like that. It's where it builds on top of it. I forgot what it's called, but I really want to look into it now and see if I could use it here, because the really cool thing about like the harness that I started building, and like one of the coolest aspects of it was like, how do I make it self-improving?
Yeah.
And so it's all about memory and it recalling memories at the right time, and knowing what to save where and like what memories are relevant to what project, and just things like that. Yes, here we go. It's called Moonin DB.
Hmm.
And this is a cognitive database. So it like does things, I think, like not necessarily as a vector DB, but it like understands that connections that it makes more often get ranked higher, and ones that are made less often get ranked lower, and that can change
Yep.
over time. So it can recall things more quickly, kind of like how your brain does,
Yeah.
I assume.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
MunionDB.
Definitely going to be checking that out, seeing how hard it would be to basically point Claude at this and be like, go.
Right.
Go self-improve. And yeah, that'll be fun.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
I have a thought, and but I didn't want to interrupt you. It just so the harness engineering thing, the thing that kept standing out to me was the at the end of the day, it's essentially redefining what it previously took to run a team. I mean that's what, at the end of the day, that's all and I know it's slightly different, right? And it's almost like, okay, you're managing a team. You have to give this team guardrails, right?
Hmm.
Otherwise, and I was trying to equate it to kind of how the side project that I worked on is kind of working out, right?
Hmm.
Because at like any startup, when you get a handful of people together, it's mostly chaos, right? There's very little process. Everybody there's very little process around both what you're working on or what tools you're using to work on it, etc. Right? A lot of times you
Hmm.
come to the table and you're like, okay, we want to solve this problem. Let's go figure out what the best, what tools we know, what tools there are, and just start throwing stuff together. Um, and then as an org grows, that's less of the way you want things to run, right? The more people you have, the more guardrails you want, right? So then
Yeah.
you start worrying about you start having conversations around, okay, do we really want you to bring a new language in, or do we want to just have these set of languages and tools that we build everything with, right?
Hmm.
And you get more and more defined in that. And to me, this is kind of what I feel like harness engineering is. And it was funny because I think I forget how I got to it. There's a harness engineering blog post on Martin Fowler's blog. It's not from Martin Fowler; it's from a guest writer, but it kind of talks about the same thing, which is the harness is really okay, defining the tools, defining the rules that need to be followed, etc. And it's almost like you have to. It's like running a team, but you almost have to be even more anal about it
Hmm.
because you're dealing with.
An idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And and it would almost be like running a team with nothing but a bunch of juniors, right? Where
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're like, no, you got to go do this exactly, right?
Hmm.
So it's a fun problem, and it's funny watching things kind of the cycle of just repeat itself, right? But now it's robots instead of humans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's fun, and it's like it's a fun problem to solve for sure. And yeah, this is referencing that OpenAI article as well.
Yeah,
This seems to be like
I think
the
that was
place to
the
go.
yeah the that article, I think, was the experiment that everybody's looking at now to then drive, this approach forward. Which,
Yeah.
it's a really, I think it makes the most sense for a um, mature product that you approach it this way, right? And that's kind of what I was saying before on so the project that I'm working on the side. At first it was just like, hey, go do this, go do this, go do this. Just build out the structure. Now there's a structure, and it's real easy for pretty extreme complexity to be added when you're just trying to fix a bug at this point, right?
Hmm.
Because it's like I know there's a larger problem that's trying to be solved, and trying to get more guardrails in place so that way that article, I think, actually links to an article that Martin Fowler himself wrote, which also resonated. Um, which let me go find my notes real quick. Sorry. Um, called relocating rigor,
Hmm.
and I think I'm hitting that point now, which is okay. I let I let AI go to town on this product and get it to where it needs to be. I spent some time looking at the code. I wrote none of the code, but I spent some time looking at the code. I spent a decent amount of time of looking at the model that was built, the data model, et cetera, right? Just to be like, does this make sense? So now I got to figure out where in this process, I'm not going to write code. That's just a given at this point. But where in this process is there going to be rigor to make sure that the outcome of what is there is actually what is good, right?
Mhm.
And I fell into the trap, I think, over the last day or two, where I just put out a bunch of stuff. I was just like, hey, would like this. People want to start using this in a week or two. I want to get this out there. And not surprising, like 10 minutes after I put it out, the main user was like, yeah, this doesn't work, or that doesn't work. And I'm like, really? Huh? I tested that. I thought it worked, and it was just, I started running honestly, I think it hit a point where it was running too fast. There's not enough rigor in certain places. And I need to rethink, like, okay, how is this being evaluated before? Right. And to be fair, it's still very early stages of
Yeah.
something that where you're like, oh, we got to move fast and we got to get it in front of people and get feedback. Right.
Yep.
That's the stage it's at. But I am slightly uncomfortable at the moment where it's like, man, I could build a big fucking mess real fast that then I'm on the hook to be like, oh God, I don't want this to be something where I'm just like trying to go fix problems every 5 seconds. So yeah, I found these really interesting, and they all relate back, especially Martin Fowler's, relocating rigor post was great about just linking it back to previous things that happened in the history of software engineering that I'm aware of, that, or at least I was around to either have been right after these things happened or happened while I was have been in the industry. And it's always helpful to map things back to that, to be like, this happened, this changed, it was drastic, maybe not as drastic as what's going on now, but think about it from this approach, and really linking it back to, if there's no point in the process that you're doing where you think you have what he calls rigor, some kind of, you're putting effort into this thing happening, then it's probably not good.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
For sure.
you can have the AI write the code, but if you're not somehow, it doesn't mean you're reviewing it, but maybe you have a really strong evaluation system in place that doesn't have to be you evaluating, but you know exactly how it's doing, right? In the article, he talks about, you could even follow the TDD pattern. You're writing the tests, but I'm not that I want to do that either, but maybe you're clearly defining well-written and context that have tests that have the complete context, to where when it passes them, you're comfortable with it, right? You're
For
like,
sure.
okay, yeah. So I think that's an approach that's going to be important to a lot of teams going forward.
For sure. It's a very interesting problem. And I think that that's the most interesting, right? It constantly makes me think of this GIF that I've had up on the screen for way too long. It's like your Sideshow Bob, and your harness is Sideshow Bob, and you just don't want it to step on the same rake over and over, but it's going to just like smack itself in the face over and over and over until eventually it might get through. And yeah, the goal is, if you can eliminate all of the rakes, all the possible rakes, by giving it feedback, like letting it discover the feedback of where those rakes are, then it can avoid them next time. Yeah. But it's like it knows how to understand that. Like, it's giving it, this relates back to like an article from, I think it was AMP, called Feedback Loopable. And it's all about like giving your agent the ability to detect when things are right or wrong.
Yeah.
And like with it, they show it with this animation, but it's like, if it can understand when things are wrong and I don't have to tell it, then it can just fix it without me having to intervene at all. So by giving it a way to measure or instrument what's actually happening, so that it can feed that data back into itself and then go in a loop until it no longer gets the negative feedback, then it finds a way through.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
It has to do it to itself so that it can keep itself on task and understand when things go wrong, but it also has to be able to feed it back to you as well. And so if my goal truly at the end of the day is I don't want to read the code that it's reviewing and I just want to know that it works, how, like, what does it have to do to convince me that things just work?
Yeah.
And that could be, yeah, all the tests pass. It could be, we wrote these like smoke tests that hit every piece of the system, or whatever, or like full end-to-end tests that do it. Or it could be like, hey, look, I recorded this video of me clicking through the whole site and doing like some complex thing, and I attach that to the pull request, and then that's what you have to review, not the whole thing.
Yeah, the one the one thing in the back of my mind that slightly scares me about the harness engineering piece though is I could see teams getting wrapped around the axle about spending time building out this perfect system, right? um Before way too early, like the reason I continue to. Oh, you disappeared.
I'm here. I was taking a drink.
Oh, you scared me there for
Way
a
to
minute,
call me out.
but what like so I want to use this again. The easiest thing for me is to use a side project because it's where I do the most like hands-on keyboard, if you want to call it that, work still. The the product is hitting a point now where it's understood enough that a system could be beneficial. A system before that point would not have been beneficial because one, I don't even think the product was fully understood. I still don't think the product's fully understood. We're going to get plenty of feedback from true people who actually use it, and you get the feedback of, well, no, I need something that does this, right? So there's that piece. So I don't think, I think harness engineering may be a something that teams do before they should do it in startups or in early days of products. And the second piece is, I think for a well-defined mature product where a harness would make sense, it scares me that it would scare me that this would become the place where this is where I get to go do my technical tinkering, right? This is where I get to go tweak my Vim config. This is where those types of things go, right? And not that it's a big deal, but if anywhere within the AI piece that where things will go, where maybe business, the business, value doesn't show up, maybe it's here. Because this is part of the challenge with software engineers, right? You always had the people who are very interested in the technical piece of solving the problem, and I can. This has it all. It's written all over the wall there. This is where people can go and lose themselves, and maybe not for the best benefit. But it's hard to say because there clearly could be and will be benefits from setting up these types of systems. Because if you're going to have AI doing it, you got to have guardrails. So
yeah, for sure,
it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah. Some clarifications. The original article from OpenAI, this was a completely new project that they did it in. And
right.
So they didn't write code from the start. They grew the code rather than engineer the code, which I think is like where all of this is going to. Like, I definitely feel like I'm growing code rather than like engineering code. Like it kind of takes us, I pointed in a general direction and we get there. The road we take can vary a little bit, and I try and add, the shortest path or the correct path as much as I can, but it's also like going to stray. Sometimes that's for the better. Sometimes, most of the time it's for the worse. So you have to like redo it. And you also learn quickly, like, oh, it took the wrong path. Well, it shouldn't have done that. And correcting that is like zero cost at this point. Like, it feels so cheap to get on the right path very quickly, as long as you're like monitoring it and having it self-correct, or like not self-correct, but like correcting it along the way. It's finding the best path to the product or the solution that you want.
Yeah, I did not. So by the time I got to that article, I didn't have time to read it before today. I want to go back and read it to understand, the full scope of what exactly they built the harness on top of.
Yeah. they
Or
give a
was
good.
it their own thing?
It's their own. Well, they built it on top of Codex, which is OpenAI's
Okay,
thing.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they yeah, no, that totally makes sense, right? They had a product, even if it was a product that AI built before, or had some hand in before, they had a product kind of well formed
Yeah.
that they were actively shipping and working and et cetera. And now they spent time on building a harness to enable it to go further. Correct? Is that the gist of it?
They started a completely brand new project, and I don't know what is going on here. I'm trying to show my screen. Um, they started a completely brand new project, and they grew it from scratch. Oh my gosh, this
It's kind of blurry, huh?
I don't know. Oh no, you look fine to me, but it's not showing my screen. I
I
think
can
there's
see
some
your
lag.
screen.
Oh, you
Yeah, but
can.
I can see your screen. It's super blurry,
Oh, okay,
but up there
interesting.
now it's clear. I can read it.
Okay, I as soon as you said that, it popped in for me. Anyway, um, the fun thing about this is, and this is the thing that I didn't get in the initial read through that I did of this blog post, um, was like, how would you as a team even get started on this? And I think that this is the main part right here. Like, you can get a good idea right here, and I totally missed this fact the first time, and that is that this harness
Hmm.
is effectively markdown. It is just markdown, and that's it.
Right.
And then it's fed into Codex and run, and yeah, it's totally vibes driven. Is it on whether it's doing correct things or not, and just like auto corrected along the way. And that is what I built with Case, which is like my implementation of this. And you can't see it from GitHub because it doesn't consider Markdown a language,
Right.
apparently. But this is like 9,000 lines of Markdown, and that's all that Case is pretty much. The shell scripting is some hooks,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. Just to keep it on task, but it just does its own thing, and it's all of these different agents that are Markdown files controlled by this orchestrator, which is a Markdown file that follows all of these references and memory files that are Markdown files. And it's really cool because it lets you interact. This is built around Claude code.
Hmm.
And so you can, while the agent's running, you can guide it, you can talk to it, you can correct it, and it has a full like self-improvement loop that it goes through at the end to take the feedback, take the transcript of the conversation, and learn from it. Was I running a lot of tools over and over because I wasn't doing something right? Well, when I figured it out, what was that thing? And is it something that I can apply to like my general memory? Is it something that I can apply to my memory of Next.js apps or TanStack Start or whatever? And it will appropriately put that in the right place, which is just a markdown file in itself, and then learn from there. And so it's
Okay.
pretty cool. But like, that was the thing. I set off, like I went to a coffee shop on last Saturday, and I'm just like, I'm going to like take a look at this. And I was like starting to look at things like pi.dev and other things like, I'm going to build on top of this and make it my own. And it's going to be this amazing thing. And I still might do this. But then I was like, oh, I can just probably write this as a Claude skill. And that's how I started. And then it was like a challenge to like do constraint based development where I'm like
Hmm.
constrained to be a Claude plugin. And that gives me a lot of benefits, especially in this like early days of it, to learn and grow from, so that I can apply that. And then like a lot of that will transfer if I wanted to build on top of like the Cloud Agent SDK or Pi or whatever. And that's pretty
Okay.
cool.
So let me see if I understand. So case. So we'll just use case in this instance.
Okay.
So case is not something that I pull into, say, my project. Case is just a tool that is used by Claude code in this case to essentially say this is how these are how the agents that work on whatever you're asking me to work on should behave.
Correct. And it
Okay.
is extremely locked to me right now. Like so much so that if you actually looked at the code, there's a bunch of like absolute paths to like where case is installed on my system.
Hmm.
So like users Nick Nisi,
Yeah.
whatever. And so like this is not for anyone to use right now but me.
Yeah.
But I'm building it, and I'll get there. I just wanted to not be worried about whether Case can find where I
Right.
want
Yeah.
memory
No,
files to go.
that's the way you should build it. Honestly,
Yeah,
is
like we said,
build and
it's
then
so
refactor.
trivial to refactor it. We can
Yep.
we can do that later. And so yeah, it does that. And like the bigger problems to solve were really like I'm giving Case all these instructions and it's forgetting half of them. How do I force that? And so it was like hooks, and then develop several sub agents so that it burns separate context windows rather than like polluting the top level.
Yep.
And that made it a lot easier. But yeah, at the end of the day, it like writes the code in the way that I would write it. For the most part, it learns from itself. It auto detects things like doom loops, where it's like just calling the same tools over and over or getting stuck in places. It tries to understand when that's happening and interrupt itself with tool calls, with hooks specifically around tool calls. But yeah, it's set up so that I can just be like /case and give it like a PR from or an issue from GitHub, or like a linear ticket, and it can just run with that and go. And provided that it has enough context, it can get pretty darn far without it. And one thing that I'm working on, I don't think I have it merged into this, is a copy of it, or another skill that it'll ship with, called From Ideation, where it'll take my ideation skill, like the plans that you make from that, and it will just iterate on them so that, or execute on them so that you don't have to babysit, and Case can just go. So you can do like much more, higher level planning with it of bigger features, and then set Case off and you go work on something else.
Okay. I'll have to take a look. Yeah, because like this would be interesting for the thing we're working on, mostly because again the thing has gotten. I think the thing has gotten mature enough that next steps or the tickets that tickets could be written that are clear enough for context, for the context to take off with it, right? To go and pull it and understand what it needs to do, right? Because up until this point, it has been a lot of me babysitting each. Like I'm gonna do this small thing, and then we're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna okay, this is what I really wanted you to do.
Yeah.
So, this is super interesting.
Yeah, and the best part is it sucks right now, but it'll learn and get better as we go.
Yeah.
And I think tying it into other things that we talked about, like maybe this is a better memory system than raw markdown files, and it might be something I look into.
Yeah, I would have to understand why, like what the benefit is. I assume it's not text based. It's. I mean, at the end of the day, well, the only way it would be better than Markdown is if it's not text based, right? If it's like a vector DB where you're limiting what has to be pulled in or something. But
right. Yeah, I don't know, but the cost of playing with it is so cheap that I might as well. Right?
Yeah,
in terms of time, and that's where so many fun ideas come from. Just exploring, and you can infinitely explore now because like the level of effort that it takes to spin up on something is like so easy now that you can just, I don't have to see it as like a big mountain. Oh, I don't want to go do that right now because I just don't want to get, like, it'll take me too long to get the flywheel moving. Now
right.
It's like it just goes.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I want to dig into this a little bit. I know that you said is Case is it a private repo right now?
Nope, it's open source.
All right, I'll go take a look at it, even though you said I can't run it because it's got all your paths. I'll just change my name to AInxiety.
Yeah.
Change it
I recommend that.
That'll be easy to do. So yeah, maybe I want to share something before we wrap things up. This is such a dumb thing, but I still, it's the small things I think that sometimes that the AI does that make me giggle. So I still play around with like Claude Cowork as well, right?
Yep.
Most of the stuff I do is in Claude Code, etc. If it's not code related, then most of the time I'll probably just hop in a Claude desktop and do it. But I'm atrocious with email, and I just like don't read it, and it just piles up, and looks like crap because my personal email address got used all over the place for business stuff, so I just get trash, just like my phone number. Um, so so I was like, hey, cowork, I want to set up some process to like, I want to have a daily process where you're helping me manage my email. But before we even get started with that, like, we got to go clean things up, right? Otherwise, you'll be starting from trash. Anyways, we went back and forth. It was like, hey, I'm going to go do some things, and I'm going to open up Chrome and go to your Gmail and do all this stuff, right? Because it's like, you can't, it can obviously read the email, read what's via the API, but it can't take action. So it has to actually drive Chrome to do the actions. And at one point, I was like, hey, you're not necessarily getting rid of stuff that I care about, but what's a way, like, I want to be able to, hey, how about there's a place where I can put in domains that I care about, et cetera, right? And what I found surprising was it looked at all the tools that I have connected, right? And it knows that I have OmniFocus, Obsidian, et cetera, all these things connected via MCP. So what it decided and thought was a good idea, which it was, it's quite brilliant, was it's like, hey, I created this Obsidian node called email triage config.md. And you just go in there whenever there's a domain, and it like laid it out. It had, here's what I've already got, etc. Here's things I don't care about. Here's things I do care about. I can put domains in there, or I can just put generalized, like, oh, if it's a financial related thing, then, if it's like a bill or something like that, right? It's just, I thought it was brilliant that it was like, hey, I know you use Obsidian, and instead of you having to go tinker with some config file, God knows where, I'm just going to use this Obsidian note that I created in your vault, and I'm going to read it every time I go to run. And if you want to update something, you just put it in there. So I thought that was brilliant. I didn't think of it to do that, but I was just like, hey, I need to config things where, and it was just, that's what it came up with. So I thought that was pretty funny that it did that.
Yeah. It's so clever sometimes.
Yeah, and so dumb the others.
I might have missed the first part. Did you say that you looked at the Google Workspace CLI?
So it's hooked up to the, so I guess it's got the Gmail connector built into it, but it says that it's not allowed to like it can't archive emails and stuff via that connector, in that it needed to actually drive Chrome to go do it, which at the end of the day, I don't care. But and it was honestly, this first step was it trying to archive, like, I had like 100-something-thousand emails of trash that it was just like, I'm going to go and archive this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at the CLI and I don't see an archive command, but I haven't used it yet. It's on my list.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, it was like, hey, I can't do this. We need to hook up via Chrome, which I thought I had Chrome hooked up, and I kept getting this error. It kept popping up, hey, you need to sign into the same account. And I'm like, they're literally signed into the same account. I don't know why you keep telling me this. But no, I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it works. Like, tomorrow it's supposed to run at 7 a.m. No, wait, tomorrow's Saturday. It's only going to run on Mondays and Fridays. I originally messed around with OpenClaw or whatever the hell its name was, and kind of fell off of that real fast. I do not currently have the interest or the time to go and manage that system. And I also don't fully trust that system. Not that I should necessarily be trusting Claude, but I have more trust in Claude right now.
Well,
you use OpenClaw, don't you?
I do. I don't use it that much though. And I'm like, Claude shipped a bunch of things that might make it a little bit more palatable for, like, especially the things that I'm doing. But they shipped in the desktop app, the Claude Code desktop app. You can do like scheduled tasks now.
Oh yeah,
and
like
so you can have it. Yeah, that's like a big piece of what makes OpenClaw
Right.
amazing, is like just doing things kind of not when I'm asking it to, but more regularly. And then even the Claude desktop or Claude Code CLI has /loop now, where you can just like say, keep doing this every 30 minutes, review this PR, or
Yeah.
like check my PRs or something. I haven't figured out a use for that yet, but it's there and I know it's there. It's kind of limited too, because you have to have like that Claude Code session open. Your laptop or your computer has to be on and awake. And the max it'll go is 3 days and then it'll stop no matter what. So it's like not.
Yeah, we'll see how this cowork. I mean,
Yeah.
cowork. I told it what I wanted to do. It's set up. It uses scheduled skill. It's essentially a cron.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if it works or not. This is on my Mac Studio, so it's generally up and running. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens. But
Very
I know
cool.
that OpenClaw. I had a hard time installing it. Oddly enough, like just every time I would boot it up to get it to do something, it would start complaining about something, and
Mm-hmm.
then it seemed like it was in this weird state where it was like half configured and half not, and I had to end up just blowing it away like 2 or 3 times. I finally got it up, and it started talking to me in Discord, and
Nice.
then, but then I think once I restarted, it wasn't set to restart itself, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
also, like, yeah, it was. I saw that Facebook bought Moltbook. I can't. Nick, I don't understand why we can't come up with crazy ideas for people buy for ridiculous amounts of money for like.
I
It's
know.
just insane to me. And that's part. This is the old curmudgeon in me coming out again. But why the fuck are you paying money for a robot social network? It's just
Well,
so dumb.
yeah. Wait till your parents are sending you. I learned about this crazy conspiracy from Moltbook, because
Oh
they somehow make their way
God,
on there talking to the bots.
no way.
I'm kidding. Like
Oh,
Facebook is
okay.
already full of bots, right? Like, just saying.
It's not, I mean, it's believable, but yes,
Yeah.
like, I mean, there's probably half the country's already listening to bots in their Facebook feed or
Yeah.
whatever already. Oh, it's yeah. Yeah, I want to watch the economic thing from Cal Newport, and maybe we chat about that a little bit next week, just because. Yeah, I think that's a very we have like the Palantir guy talking about it too. I don't know if you saw that. Go look that up. We'll have to talk about it because I just don't understand. I want to talk through the idea that we're going to destroy the economy, but also we need the economy so we can continue to be rich. I like it just doesn't. I don't understand how that works. So
Something
maybe
to
that's
do with
something
it.
that we can dig into as well because I have less anxiety about this thing taking my job anymore than or less anxiety about it taking my job or destroying my career than I did maybe a few weeks ago. But
Yeah.
I mean, if there's no world to work in, then maybe that's going to be a problem.
Well, there's several reasons why there might not be a world to work in. What a great place to end this.
Yes, very positive. As always, I keep it on the positive side, Nick.
Oh yeah.
All right, dude. It was
Cool.
good chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise. I'll see you next week.